Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Done Playing Small podcast, the place to stop shrinking, stop overthinking, and start living life on your terms. So today's episode is for the woman who is multi-passionate, has too many ideas, too many directions, and instead of feeling empowered, we feel confused, stuck, and honestly overwhelmed. So I want to talk about this topic because this is something that it's been on my mind for a very long time, and I know for a fact this is one of the things that have keep me stuck. Yes, there's a lot of subconscious blockages that we've been working with and all that stuff and self-sabotage, but at the same time that doesn't help with, on top of being a multi-passionate person and living in this world where they keep telling us that we need to niche down, focus on one thing and that one thing only, and that we have to keep them separate if we do. And it's been a little bit overwhelming and exhausting. You usually hear choose one career, get a regular 9-to-5 job, niche down. This is so in the entrepreneurship world, we hear so much niche down that immediately you get frustrated, and we keep telling to focus on one thing, and that one, it could be tricky depending on where you use the focus on one thing, because I get it, we need to focus on one thing at a time when it comes to the moment when we are creating something, but at the same time it could be confusing if again you are a multi-passionate person. So this is where the internal chaos started, because I'm supposed to niche down, I keep getting confused, and I'm like, okay, so what should I do now? So long story short, for background, when I moved back to Puerto Rico like 10 years ago, I was in a bad situation, right? I was basically homeless, pregnant with my third baby, and all by myself in a small studio at my grandma's house, again with 2 kids and pregnant, right? And no job, no home in that moment, nothing. And I was trying to figure everything out. One thing I did know for a fact is that I wanted to move back to the United States. However, through the experience that I had in Virginia, I knew that something had to change and I needed to figure it out, my income. Reality is that living in the United States, and maybe in any country, it's really hard for a single mom. Right now I found myself in that situation when I recently got separated from my partner. I was a stay-at-home mom, and here I am with no job, no career, nothing, in a new state, all by myself, no friends and family. And if I get a regular job in like a Walmart, or in my case, I was cleaning houses, I had a second job at Dunkin' Donuts, and sometimes I even had a third job and another donut shop, because actually I did graduate as a baker and pastry. Like, I have a certification for baking and pastry, so I work in Golden Corral in the baking era. Those were my thing, but still my salary was never over at $1,000 a month. Like, the biggest paycheck I had in Golden Corral was not even $200. I will say I was not completely full-time though, but still, if the most I ever got on summer was $300, that's $1,200 a month. And when you're trying to get an apartment, your apartment is telling you, oh no, you had to make 50. Like right now, if I want to stay here after being separated, it's $5,200 if I'm not mistaken. How am I gonna make $5,200 with a regular job in Walmart or Target or as a baker when the salary is only 10 or 11 bucks? Like, I started to have a lot of triggers on my life in Virginia, right? But going back to that time, that's what was happening. They were asking me, oh no, you have kids, you need to have 2 bedrooms. Well, I can only afford 1 bedroom because you're demanding me 3 times the rent, right? And sometimes that's a little bit hard and unfair, because we could have the income to pay the rent, we can have the income to pay the bills and have nothing else left, but at least you and your kids are safe in a home with warm shelter and all that stuff, instead of being out there in the street sleeping in a car in pure winter. So I knew I did not want to live that again. I knew regular job still was not an option, because when I was having 2 and 3 jobs, I was not taking care of my kids. My kids will be from almost 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. in daycare / school. And when mom comes, she had to leave them taking care of with somebody to be taking care of them before I had to leave again. And that is something I knew I did not want it. So I started to figure it out, and I noticed that people were asking me questions about my health and wellness journey because they noticed the change. I lost almost 50 pounds, and people obviously saw that, and they were asking. I was like, maybe, you know what, I do love health and fitness. Maybe this is the place where I should be. And then it hit me, online is the key. I can work from home, be with my kids, and work and be in control of my schedule. That's the other issue you have. You are not in control of your schedule. You depend. You are anxious waiting for your schedule, and then you see that and you have that disappointment and that frustration. What's next? Because this is not gonna be enough, and you know. So that's when I decided I wanted to build my online business. But again, I was alone, broke, and I had no idea. So that's where I started to study. I started to look how to make an online business in health and wellness, how to be a health and wellness coach, what are the best products. And I started to fall even more in love with health and wellness. But then I found myself in the entrepreneurship world, mindset, personal growth. I fell in love with reading books. I fell in love with our brains, neuroplasticity. I found even law of attraction, quantum physics was something that I found on my journey of being an entrepreneur and trying to be successful. And now these are things that I'm passionate about, and that's when the frustration came, because I knew I wanted to use social media. I wanted to be a content creator, but it came frustrating because I wanted to share my journey as a single mom building her online businesses. But it's a niche that is not health and wellness. And every time I'm studying, get one niche. So then, if you're trying to live your passions, you are going to find yourself frustrated because now you have to work. And this is where another frustration comes to play, because now, in that time, it was only Facebook and Instagram. And YouTube, but YouTube was not that big in that time, or at least I think, I don't know. But for me, the biggest one was Facebook. Instagram was still starting, and now Instagram grew to this big monster. Now we have freaking TikTok, now we have so many apps. And now imagine having my regular lifestyle content, having my health and wellness content, and then having this business and entrepreneurship content. That's 3 pages, 3 Facebook pages, 3 Facebook Instagram, 3 TikToks, 3 YouTube. That is exhausting, and you feel confused, you feel overwhelmed, you don't know which route to go because you freaking love all of them at the same time. And you get what I'm trying to figure out a word. It's like exhausted, but it's another word. You freeze. I think that's another word. You freeze, and you also start to get yourself distracted. It's like you're trying to divide yourself in little pieces when you are just this one person, and you have to divide yourself in pieces and put yourself in different boxes and choose one box, label yourself in this one thing, and ignore all of those things. And that's the other problem I've been having with the health and wellness industry. Again, they keep telling me like, oh, you need to niche down. But the problem is that because people find a person that is just niche to this specific topic, they're not working in all of the other aspects of their life that are necessary to live a healthy, sustainable lifestyle. They are focusing just on the recipes, so they are ignoring the physical part, the fitness and the movement. Maybe they are doing fitness, but they're not working on their nutrition because this person is only teaching you fitness and they're not teaching you nutrition. And maybe you find both, because eventually we came to a space where they realize that these two need to be together. And usually now you do see a little bit of that together. Still, it's going to be more niche to another side. But the problem is you need both. But not just that, you need to work the mindset. You need to work your mind, your wellness. Because if your mind is not in the right place and you're not thinking correctly, you're not having the right thoughts, the right sentences, you're not talking to yourself properly, you don't change your story, you don't change your identity, you're gonna find yourself struggling to do your workouts or do your workout or eat your healthy meals. And then you fail, you gave up, and you stop working on yourself. So again, for me, it's hard because wellness, a healthy lifestyle has different dimensions. You have your mind, your food, your body, and even your spiritual and soul. If you're not fulfilled and happy with your life, you're not gonna take care of yourself. You're not gonna take the time to go do your workout. You're not gonna take the time to do your eat healthy. When it comes to entrepreneurship, I found that also it's not just one thing. I cannot just talk to you about building a business if I don't share with you the mindset, if I don't show you the real struggles, because you're only seeing my successful part. So because you're not seeing the struggles, the fails, you will think this is only happening to you, and you're gonna give up because, oh look, she's making it so easy. And also, your health and wellness have to do with success. This was something shocking that I learned when I was in this journey of entrepreneurship, because I was looking for this specific A, B, C steps on building a business. But when I keep buying these books and how to be a millionaire or millionaire success or whatever, I keep finding that the thing they talk about the most was mindset, having routines, and included exercise, meditation, nutrition, because those things go together with having a successful career and business. If you don't, again, and we come to this again, if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the right story, if you don't have the right identity, if you don't know your why, if you don't know where you are, if you don't know where you're going, if you're not taking responsibility and creating discipline, and if you're not having this habit, this routine, these systems, you will not be successful in your business. You can know everything about businesses, but if you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to do this. And that is something that I learned the hard way, because I am on a timeline right now, right? I going through a personal situation where I have a giant clock ticking in front of me when it comes to getting my life together. Because long story short, I am 39 and I am literally starting all over again. I went from coming back to Puerto Rico, being in the complete absolute bottom, to going and thriving and living my best and happiest life and being in the top, to now falling my face down into the ground again and falling down again to almost the same place where I was 10 years ago. Because I had this timeline, I have this clock ticking. I decided, you know what, I'm going to start working out for now. It's okay, we will get back to it, but for now, I don't have the time. I put this story in my head that I did not have time, and I stopped doing my workouts. What happened is my body started to look different. I started to feel different. My energy started going down. I was feeling dizzy. I was about to pass out. I was tired by 3 p.m. I was not looking my best. So every time I look at myself, I'm not feeling happy. I'm not feeling good. So my energy goes down. So now I'm sitting down, tired, feeling unmotivated, feeling ugly, and that affects my performance. It affected the energy that I was giving to my work. I was mental fog. I could not be creative, and my job demands a lot of creativity, a lot of focus. I was feeling tired. I was distracting myself easily because my health was not it. So I could not give my 100% into my business, into designing my website, into creating these programs that are designed to help you, if I wasn't doing it. First of all, I was not living what I'm preaching. And second of all, I neglected the other parts that are necessary for being a successful entrepreneur. So I had to stop, reframe, and be okay that I might slow down in my work and get back into my health and wellness, so that way I can have the energy, the mindset, and everything to be able to get back into my business. So I started to doing my workouts again. I started to wake up earlier. I started to cook more from home, focus on more nourishing foods, and I have definitely seen the progress, and that is something that is still in the works. Today, we finally managed to wake up at 5:30, but I noticed this week I started to shift my routine again, because I noticed that the routine I was doing, it did get better. I'm also studying to get my certification as a neuroscience coach. So I started to wake up earlier than usual, so that way I can study without interruptions. But then I noticed that I was not using my time well for other things, and even though I was doing these things, these other things were getting neglected and I needed to shift. So this week I'm shifting again, and I am waking up way earlier so that way I can do my workout, reading, studying, meditation and everything, shower, get dressed and makeup by 7:40, because that's the hour I leave the apartment to take my son to his high school. And by the time I'm back home almost at 9, I can cook my breakfast real quick, and by 10 a.m. I'm already focused on my work, which before I could do that about 12 or 12:30 I could start, and I already had to leave the house by 1 p.m. And at 3, I crashed. I was crashing so bad by 3 p.m. that again, by the time I sit down in my computer at 5 or 6, because when I get home at 4, I had to cook dinner, you know? So if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, then you already know how much I believe that true wellness isn't just about food or workouts. It's about your mind, your habits, your energy, and the way you show up for your life. That's exactly why I created my Wellness Elixir. It is a private wellness membership where I share deeper tools to help you create a healthy relationship with mind, body, and food. Inside the membership, you will find monthly wellness programs with guided journal prompts, mindset work, nervous system support, workouts, nourishing recipes, and simple systems to help you stay consistent without burning out. Think of it as your personal space for growth, healing, and alignment. If you're ready to stop feeling scattered and start building a lifestyle that actually supports you, I'd love to have you inside. You can join us anytime by visiting mywellnesselixir.net. Your next level of wellness is waiting for you there. I had to shift things, but that's my personal life. Those are things that have absolutely nothing to do with business. Because we are being told that we just need to focus on entrepreneurship, on business, then we're not talking about health, wellness, system, habits, routines, mindset, your story. Everything is together. We're not talking about the part that you are a mother with obligations, that house chores. I'm homeschooling a 4th grader. I have a 3-year-old daughter, baby, toddler. Is she a toddler by 3 still or not? I don't know. Let's say it is. I have a plate full, and I wanted to share everything. I wanted to share my health and wellness. I wanted to share my entrepreneurship, but once again, they're telling me I need to separate these things. So what happened is that you start questioning yourself, like, am I right? Am I crazy? What's wrong with me? You think there's something wrong with you because you love too many things and you are indecisive. Do I need to choose entrepreneurship? Do I need to choose health and wellness? Do I need to be full-time content, just focus on content creation, lifestyle content? And suddenly the things that once felt exciting, it now feels so heavy on you. Like you're not excited about those things anymore, even though you love them. And I've been noticing this lately. I've been in this 90-day journey, which if you're new, I share a little series that I started like 3 months ago-ish. It's called Becoming Her, where I started to work again with my identity, slowing down. I started to work with my personal life first, so that way I could get my career. I was doing it backwards, and for me personally, I realized that for me, I thought that I needed to have my career so that way I can be motivated for my other stuff, right? For my personal life and have my dream life. But I realized that first I needed to heal, organize my personal life, because that was going to give me the excitement, the fulfillment, the blissfulness, the joy of working on the things that I'm passionate about. But I noticed I lost my passion. I was like, I used to love these things so much anymore, and they're not exciting for me anymore because I am not allowed to share all of those things. I need to choose one. And you end up not even sharing one because you feel like you're neglecting the other sides of you that makes you you. You're basically now trying to split yourself into pieces. It's insane. This is like you showing one version of you when you're talking, let's say, about business, but the other version of you, it's like of health, you have to stay quiet or do it separately. And you get confused. What did I share here? What did I share there? Sometimes I create something and I'm like, is this for health or just wellness or lifestyle? Or can I do both? Like, you're overthinking everything. And instead, again, of feeling aligned, you feel scattered and honestly exhausted. So now this is the moment where everything click, right? The other day, I think that was the day that the universe decided to truly speak to me, because I am in that journey of my life where I feel like I can see it, I can smell it, I can feel it. Like, we get in there, it's happening. Just keep going, it's there, right? And the other day, before 11 o'clock, I found myself watching these two content creators where they were talking how they needed to stop, slow down, simplify their life, and just go to one place, because they were having the same issues. They were having different pages that they needed to work with, and that is exhausting. And one of them shared how she had this hard realization where something told her that she needed to step back, and make it simple for her. And I was watching this other content creator where she was sharing the same thing. We are pressured to separate things, and the fact that now you have to work these two channels. And that's the other part. It's not just that, okay, I share this here, share this here. It's that because you're separating and you're having two channels that you need to monetize, you had to overwork, because you had to do a lot of this to be able to monetize this, and a lot of this to be able to monetize this. Otherwise, you're not monetizing, because everything is separated. And she was talking about how overwhelming and exhausting, now that she is a mom and a wife, how this is not working, and how she had to make the choice to leave the other channel and pause. It's still gonna be there for the people who finds it and want to go back to it, but how she was gonna go back to her main channel and do everything in that one channel. She can, YouTube now gives you the opportunity to create memberships as well, having paying subscribers for exclusive content and all that stuff. So how she decided to go back there, so that way she can go back to her true self, because she does vlogs about daily life, a day in the life, organizing, blah blah blah. But at the same time, she does a little bit of health and wellness, and she does yoga. And she needed to separate that. She has her own podcast, and she had to separate the podcast. And how she decided, you know what, we're just gonna do everything in one and just flow with it, and allowed ourselves to be fully ourselves. While at the same time, I saw the other girl who was like, I had this hard realization, this hard stuff where I needed to do this in one, right? So later during the day, I went back to my hike and all that stuff, and on my way to pick up my son in school, I found this YouTuber, the third person in the same day, that she's talking about being a multi-passionate person as well. And that was a little different from the other ones. The other ones are saying, you know what, I'm a multi-passionate, I'm just gonna simplify and do everything together and not divide myself. All of these pieces are me. And this other person is talking about how she is multi-passionate, and she's trying to figure out a career now. She's a content creator trying to go into regular corporate America and all that stuff. But she even had to hire a career coach, because she keeps having problem figuring out what she wants to do, because she's a multi-passionate. And how accidentally she found this thing called portfolio career, where basically it's people that are multi-passionate, and when they're getting real jobs out there, they can have a part-time in one part of the things they love, and they're having a part-time in the other thing. Like in this case for me, it would be, okay, I'm gonna get a part-time job on something that it's about coaching, about entrepreneurship, or helping people build their online businesses, while I'm gonna have this part-time job working on a fitness center, on a gym as a fitness coach. So that way she's still allowing herself, even though it's still two separate jobs, but it's allowing herself to truly be all of her. Even if it's separate, she's still being herself. So I know it can contradict what I said earlier, but it's still that aha moment where it's telling you it is okay to be multi-passionate. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. And if that's how you feel, that's how you are, the universe created you that way. Embrace it, and don't listen to the, I understand you need to learn from the experts. I want to be here, So I'm going to see what that person did, and I want to hear what he did or she did to be there, and I want to follow her steps. But at the same time, you have to realize that you are different. So yes, the basics you must follow, but at the same time, you need to learn how to be yourself, because that's where you are going to come in and be your unique self. You're still going to be an entrepreneur or whatever, and do the things that will make you successful, but how can you implement that on a way that still aligns to your true self? And that's when we, including myself, have our issues, because now we see in ourselves like taking it too extreme and not trying to be our authentic self, because we have to be 100% like this person. So the real truth here is you don't have too many passions. You just been taught to think in boxes. You just been taught, and I hate this. I've been hating labels for so long. And again, I think this is why I was so frustrated, because I was finding myself in finding to put a label on myself and lock myself in a box, and not being free in what I can talk about and express about and share about, right? Your passions are not random. You are connected. Entrepreneurship, health, mindset, motherhood, lifestyle. They're all expressions of the same woman, me. And when I try to separate them, I create confusion, I create pressure, and I create burnout. And that needs to stop. And this is where I need to start making the shift. So what if the answer isn't to choose one, but learning how to own all of me in one space? The thing that I need to work for now in May is how I can own all of those spaces of me in just one space. And eventually in the future, when I am financially, there, then I could like separate things, because yes, this is part of, people who are financially successful have about 7 streams of income. They don't usually they don't have just one stream of income. So eventually I want to have my own membership for entrepreneurship and helping females to build their online businesses. But I also, because this is my main baby, I also want my membership about health and wellness, which is launching next month. I'm so excited. When it comes to here, my platform, my YouTube, my podcast, my channel, I was like, I need to separate this, right? And now I'm like, you know what? No, this is me. This is my regular vlog, sharing the real behind the scenes. And then we're going to sit down here and talk, real talk, about this whole journey that sometimes I cannot share and talk about, because I am all day doing and vlogging my day in the life and doing my day. And I cannot really sit down and have these conversations with you. What if my brand isn't I talk about business or I talk about health? And what if my brand is I show women how to build a life that feels good in every area? Beautiful. Now everything connects. Now I feel the flow, and now I'm not switching identities. I am just showing up as my true authentic self. I am showing up as me. So this is when we need to do the reframe. And from now on, I'm going to say, I am not confused. I was just trying to fit a multi-dimensional life into a one-dimension system, and that is never going to work. So here's the shift. So instead of asking, what would I choose? I need to start asking, how does these passions work together? And I think I already answered that earlier with you guys. My health supports my energy. My business supports my freedom. My mindset supports my consistency. My mindset will support my business and my health. It's not separate, it's a system. So now on, during May, we are going to be working with simplifying our life. And I'm going to be sharing that in my long form vlogs here as well on YouTube. If you're watching, if you are listening on my podcast, this is what's going on. I am filming video versions of these podcasts, and I am sharing them on YouTube, Rise of a Mompreneur, on Wednesdays and Fridays. So Mondays are going to be regular vlogs, me filming myself during my days, real behind the scenes of motherhood and all that stuff. On Wednesdays, somebody alarms is on. So anyways, what I was saying, oh yeah, so Mondays is regular vlogs. Wednesdays I'm gonna do sit down talks with you, and I'm going to take that audio and share them in the podcast Don't Play Small. And then on Fridays I'm gonna do another sit down video where I'm gonna share with you more health and wellness focus, and those ones will have like maybe b-rolls. I'm trying to figure out how I can make those videos, and maybe these ones too more exciting. Maybe we can include eventually b-rolls in the middle of talking or whatever, but there's still gonna be like a sit down video talking about something specific. So Wednesdays are the Don't Play Small, where we just talk about anything, lifestyle, entrepreneurship, mindset, motherhood, whatever it's going on, just life. And then on Fridays it's gonna be again my health and wellness, and that one we will share on the podcast My Wellness Elixir, because again eventually both of those are going to be separate. So I'm still figuring it out, like what can still for a future like keep them separate, but at the same time when it comes to my main platform, my main channel, I'm still my main focus just one place, share everything in one page. That's it. I'm not gonna make a YouTube for this and a YouTube for that and a YouTube for this. But when it comes to podcasts, other platforms, for a future reference, I will keep them separate. Hopefully I'm making sense. So yeah, and on the vlogs and again in this podcast, I will be sharing with you like the process and like this, like right now I had this situation and I had these thoughts and I had these realizations and these aha moments, and this is what I want to share with you. Because if I was a health and wellness coach only, I would not be able to share what I just shared with you today. I want to have the freedom to talk with you and tell you the real tea, the real what's going on, okay? Let's simplify your life. Again, you don't need multiple Instagram pages, multiple identities, perfectly separated niches. You need alignment, you need simplicity, and you need to trust that your audience can connect the dots, because it's all you. You are allowed to be a businesswoman. You are allowed to be a health and wellness coach. You are allowed to be a creator. You are allowed to be a mother. You are allowed to be a leader. You are allowed to be everything you want, an artist, a bookworm, whatever it is, you are allowed to be all at once. Let's not allow people to divide us in little pieces like we are in a pie. And remember that the moment you stop dividing yourself is the moment everything will start to flow. Oh, I love this. I don't believe that me finding those influencers that day, even though I was following them, but of all the influencers that I follow, those were the ones that were showing my feed. I believe that the universe knew what I needed in that moment, and I don't believe it was a coincidence, especially when 3 of them are talking about the same thing. And I want to tell you, if you're here and you listen to this, maybe you can resonate and it's not a coincidence. You needed to hear this. Maybe you needed a little bit of clarity or a confirmation. You're not too small. You are just done playing small, babe. So thank you so much for being here with me. We are still figuring out how we're gonna do this. As I mentioned, we're figuring things out. But we are doing it taking steps. Usually we don't take action because we're trying to figure it out perfectly on a piece of paper and we're not putting it to practice. And when we try to put the practice, it's not what you figure, it's not working out, and you gave up and you're trying to make the perfect practice. And next thing you know, it's been years and you still don't have your podcast and your website or anything like you plan to. So we are done. We are done for waiting for perfect. We are done for trying to figure everything perfect. We are doing it imperfectly, but we are doing it, and we will become better as we go. As I do this and I realize what's working and what's not working, what's easier for me, what's not easier, harder, what needs to pivot, what needs to stay, what needs to be added. And of course, as I hear your feedback and I can see like what you guys like and what you don't like and what it's working, and I can help you to live life in your terms and stop playing small. So I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.